You couldn't fix a toy plane, the CEO sneered. He replied, then your 12 jets are finished. The laughter echoed across the massive aircraft hangar. More than 200 employees stood frozen as the company's CEO pointed toward a small model airplane sitting on a workbench and mocked the quiet mechanic standing beside it. The insult was meant to humiliate him. It worked, at least for a few seconds. Then the mechanic calmly looked up and delivered a response that instantly drained the color from the CEO's face. If I can't fix a toy plane, he said quietly, then your 12 jets are finished. The hangar fell silent. Nobody laughed anymore. Before we continue, if you believe that respect should never depend on someone's job title and that hard work deserves recognition, please like this video, comment below where you're watching from, share this story with friends, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional and inspiring stories. The story began at a private aviation company outside Dallas, Texas. The company owned 12 luxury business jets worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Corporate executives, celebrities, and wealthy clients relied on those aircraft every day. At the center of the operation stood 46-year-old CEO Richard Coleman. Richard was known throughout the industry as aggressive, ambitious, and incredibly successful. Under his leadership, the company had expanded rapidly. Profits soared. Investors were happy. New contracts arrived constantly. But success had slowly changed him. The humble businessman who once worked beside mechanics had disappeared. In his place stood a man obsessed with status and appearances. Richard valued executives more than technicians. He respected titles more than talent. And unfortunately, that attitude was about to create the biggest mistake of his career. Working quietly inside the same company was 41-year-old Samuel Carter. Most employees simply called him Sam. Sam wasn't flashy. He drove an old pickup truck. He wore the same worn work boots every day. His uniforms were always clean but simple. Very few clients ever knew his name. Yet inside the maintenance department, Sam was legendary. He had spent more than 20 years repairing aircraft. When unusual problems appeared, other mechanics called Sam. When complicated systems failed, engineers called Sam. When nobody could find answers, Sam usually could. Despite his incredible skill, Sam remained humble. After losing his wife, Rachel, to illness several years earlier, he focused all his energy on raising his young daughter, Grace. Every evening after work, he picked her up from school. Every weekend belonged to her. His world revolved around making sure she had the stable childhood he wished he could still provide. Life wasn't easy, but Sam never complained. One morning, the company received troubling news. Several of its aircraft were experiencing mysterious electrical failures. The issue seemed minor at first. Then additional jets reported similar symptoms. Warning systems malfunctioned. Communication equipment behaved unpredictably. Navigation systems occasionally shut down without explanation. Engineers examined the jets. Outside consultants reviewed data. Nobody could identify the source. Days passed. Then weeks. The company started losing money. Flights were delayed. Clients became frustrated. Executives panicked. Every department searched desperately for solutions. Meanwhile, Sam continued quietly investigating the issue during his breaks and after shifts ended. He reviewed maintenance records, studied electrical diagrams, compared failure patterns. The deeper he looked, the more concerned he became. Eventually, he discovered something everyone else had missed. The failures weren't random. Every affected aircraft had recently received components from the same supplier. Those components contained tiny manufacturing defects that were spreading problems throughout critical electrical systems. It was a difficult problem, but Sam knew exactly how to solve it. Excited, he prepared a detailed report. The next morning, he requested a meeting with management. Unfortunately, management never forwarded the report. Instead, it landed on Richard Coleman's desk during one of his worst days. Investors were demanding answers. Customers were threatening cancellations. Financial pressure was growing. Already frustrated, Richard barely glanced at the report. Seeing it came from a mechanic rather than an executive, He dismissed it immediately. A few days later, Richard toured the maintenance hangar. Executives followed him closely. Cameras recorded the visit for company media. Workers lined up respectfully as the CEO walked through. When Richard approached Sam's workstation, he noticed a small toy airplane sitting nearby. It belonged to Grace. Sam had promised to repair one of its broken wings before taking it home. Richard picked up the toy and smirked. Several executives laughed. Then came the comment that changed everything. Richard joked loudly that if Sam spent less time playing with toy planes and more time fixing real ones, perhaps the company wouldn't be facing so many problems. More laughter followed. Employees shifted uncomfortably. They knew the remark was unfair. Sam had worked harder than anyone trying to solve the crisis. Richard wasn't finished. He continued mocking the mechanic in front of hundreds of workers. Finally, he held up the toy plane and sneered that Sam probably couldn't even fix that. The hangar became painfully quiet. Everyone waited to see what Sam would do. He could have argued. He could have defended himself. Instead, he calmly removed a folder from his toolbox. Inside was months of research and evidence. Then he delivered the statement nobody expected. "If I can't fix a toy plane," he said quietly, "then your 12 jets are finished." The confidence in his voice stunned everyone. Richard's smile disappeared. For the first time, curiosity replaced arrogance. Sam handed over the folder. Inside were maintenance records, supplier data, testing results, and a complete solution. Engineers standing nearby immediately began reviewing the information. Their expressions changed within minutes. One engineer looked up in disbelief. Another began rapidly flipping through pages. A third quietly confirmed that Sam's analysis appeared correct. The hangar suddenly felt different. The same people who had laughed moments earlier now stared silently. Richard's confidence faded. He realized he might have made a serious mistake. Over